Hi, Najla.
Ahlan, hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm okay, alhamdulillah.
I'm calling you at 1:20 in the morning. We must be totally crazy.
I know, but these days I think everything is crazy.
Everything is
It's,
crazy. It's Sunday, July 13th at 1:18 in the morning. When we talked yesterday, I said half of our conversation was about what happens at night, so that it would be interesting to have a conversation at night and for us to get a sense of what that feels like, for you guys to be up all night.
yeah, and guess what? A night. It's really. I mean, again, it's very bad. But thankfully, nothing very close to us, except just like half an hour ago or an hour ago. There was some shooting at the Gaza port, at the port here. Some from the boats were shelling several times, but then it's back to quiet. But I'm not sure this is gonna last really. Um, but in general, it's been a very crazy evening and night. I'm not sure if you followed, but there's one big thing that one big airstrike that hit a house near a mosque where a family was leaving the mosque to their home, and I think 17 people killed.
17? I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
17 people were killed in a single strike?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Unbelievable. Uh,
Yeah. I think the latest number is 17, and one of them is the head of uh, police, uh, police here in Gaza.
Najla, do
Uh,
me a favor. Would you somehow move the screen
uh,
so that we're not looking directly at the light?
because there's a light, yeah.
You look like an
One.
angel, and I know you are an angel, but
Oh, okay. Well, I don't think I look like an angel, really. I don't feel like an angel. Lahza, how is this going to? Sorry.
no, that's okay. That's
Okay.
better. That's better. That's great. Thank you.
Sorry. Okay. Yeah.
And it was a bad day today too. You were telling me earlier, and other people told me that today was totally different actually than all the previous days because what they said was that there was random shelling and that mosques and schools, and there was a well-known case. They hit a organization that takes care of people with severe disabilities, and then you were saying this whole targeting of non-governmental organizations, non-profit community groups. It's kind of a shift. Well, I don't know if it's a shift to a new trend, but it was something significantly different than what had happened before.
Yeah, I think what is happening, what is new since last night or like early in the morning of yesterday, is I mean when they started hitting the NGOs, I think this. I mean their claim is that they're affiliated with Hamas or somehow supported with Hamas by Hamas and things like that. Which is, I mean, they always. I mean, this is how they always used to do it. Like they start with, for example, the movement itself and like training sites. Okay, and this was like the case even in the kind of calm days, where the minute they're angry, they just you know just hit those places. And then they moved to government buildings, like institutions. And last night was the NGOs, and along with the mosques. Now, what is really frightening is that the issue of warning, like warning homes, for example, that there are now several cases very clearly. They are not even warning with a few seconds that they usually do or claim to do. A few homes like Gannam the other day. I'm losing track of days. I think 2 days ago or 2 nights before. And today, this Al Batsh family in Shajaiya, east of Gaza City. That was like, I mean, a major thing. And you feel that it's kind of a revenge reaction after the issue of the new rockets that were fired at Israel. And I wonder really, I mean, revenge, and there was not a single person injured or killed, you know. And if you're talking about 150 people, now I think it's more, the total, because today is, only today there are 30 people who were killed, at least. I was trying to collect the figures. So, I mean, what is this?
We're all a bit confused about the timeline. You know, this timeline is important because of the justifications or the excuses or explanations that each side, if you can call them sides, are making. So somebody asked me via Facebook to ask you if you could explain which is the justification that Israelis are using. Is this whole attack somehow a revenge attack for the kidnapping and murder of the 3 young Israeli settlers, which Israel claims was done by Hamas, although they deny responsibility, and they usually accept responsibility or actually proactively claim it. So is it a revenge attack? It doesn't really make sense. It's so far over the top. Or is it somehow what they are now saying, that they're reacting to rockets they received? When did those rockets start, and what's the relationship of these two events as you see it?
I think, from what I remember, when there was the kidnapping of the 3 settlers and nobody claimed responsibility again, there was no evidence against Hamas or any faction. Israel had a reaction that they started with the airstrikes at night. You know, a round of airstrikes for several days, and this had reaction by other factions, not Hamas. They responded with rockets, with a few rockets a day. So it was kind of, okay, a few airstrikes to areas which are evacuated already, like training sites and stuff, but still there are airstrikes. I mean, this is like breaking the ceasefire. And there are other factions responding with some rockets. And when they attacked, Israel then attacked one area which had a tunnel, and there were like 7 people, I think, from Hamas killed. The issue started to kind of come to a different level. I think even then Hamas didn't have a reaction. Other factions had, and I think even Hamas this time was a bit patient, I would call it. They didn't respond right away, but then the next day or 2 days after they did. So, and then we got dragged into this whole issue.
But from the let's say from the U.S. perspective, or the perspective of a person who's just getting information from the media, if Hamas is in charge, is the government in the Gaza Strip, then aren't they responsible for keeping the peace? If these other factions are sending off rockets, then Hamas should have stopped them. Even if they themselves didn't do it, that they would be responsible for it, because they should have stopped them from doing it if they had wanted to. That's what folks would say.
Yeah.
I'm not asking you to justify it, of course, but if you have any insight, just so we can try to understand.
No, I have, I wouldn't say information, but I know that Hamas tried really their best to prevent rockets, and we know of some kind of special force, like special security, where they were all across the border area, preventing any rockets being fired. So I think they did to a great extent. But there was also the pressure of okay, are they going to keep on hitting us without us responding? This type of thing. Again, you need to really go to track one by one, like action by action, and this is really, really difficult. But the overall situation, I mean, it is very obvious that Israel wanted to find any excuse to do something for so many reasons. And it is happening. It is happening now, and I don't know where is this going. Honestly, I'm not sure.
I don't know either. It's a funny thing because I don't know how much to talk such explicit politics, but a lot of people do not like Hamas. I mean, no question about that. And yet, when something like this happens and Hamas gets blamed for everything, I think people become not more supportive necessarily, but definitely less critical. It does bring people together as victims, so it has exactly the opposite effect as the effect that Israel claims that it's trying to have.
This is what exactly we talked about in our last conversation. That what Israel is trying to do by telling us, like just now, like the leaflets they're distributing now in the northern areas.
Is there a noise? What are you hearing?
Yeah, not sure really. Something.
But it always could be. I mean, we were doing the same thing today, like running to the window. Was that a noise? Was that a noise? Was that a noise? Always on edge.
Yeah, it's been going on like continuous. It's crazy. Yeah. So what was I saying? So I was telling you about the leaflets.
Right. Yeah. People don't know about the leaflets and the warning. You mentioned the warning earlier. The phone calls, the leaflets, and the warning rockets and stuff. Just briefly, why Israel does that? Because if they're warning people for people to get out of the house before they bomb it, then then it looks as if they're not trying to get the people. They're trying to get the house, which is even stranger.
Yeah, exactly. So they want to cause some damage, fine, and it goes into degrees. I think when they still want to keep it on a certain level, they do the warning and they give it some time, and they just hit the building. So, but nobody can really blame them. I mean, it won't be a big issue in the media. They shorten it a bit if they want to have more serious punishment, or they simply don't warn and they hit, as they did in at least 3 cases in the last 3 days, if I remember correctly. And the last was just a few hours ago. So the way they warn, they call the landline, mostly, and they tell the people in the house that this is the IDF, and we will be passing by, or we will be hitting your house, evacuate. You have 5 minutes. Sometimes they say you have 10 minutes. And imagine how people would want to leave in 5 minutes. What are they going to pack, how are they going to manage? So that they simply rush outside, leaving everything behind. If you have a child, if you have an old person, if you have, you can imagine how a family would be. And sometimes, these homes have more than one family in a place like Gaza. So they just leave everything behind. Everything gets, it gets bombed by an F-16. It's never less than that. At least half ton of explosives. That was one, and that's it. So there's another warning method, which is what they call a drone missile. So the drone, this little drone, there are, I think, 2 types. There's one that is very small, like a game, like a Lego game, and it doesn't do anything except taking pictures and monitoring. There's another type that carries small missiles. And they throw this missile, and actually they do assassinations with these missiles. It's not like a joke, but it's limited impact. And this is how people got used to that this is a warning missile, and it will be followed by an F-16. So people would know and leave. And even people near the area would know, and then they will also leave or stay away. So these are the ways. Now, when you talk about mass evacuation, like what they're doing in the past 2-3 days, they started with some houses, and I think the number is bigger, especially near the border in Beit Hanun, for example, because it's at the very edge of the north and east Gaza Strip. So they called families there and in Rafah um, to leave. So yeah, what they do is that they distribute leaflets by the plane. They just drop them, and everybody gets a piece of paper, and usually it's a very like a very nice message. Like it would say, for your safety, we know that you are innocent people and you are being held hostage by a terrorist organization. So please leave for your own sake, etc., etc., etc. And I think this is what they've done. I don't have a copy, unfortunately. It's not circulating for some reason, but I know they've done. That's what I just read an hour ago. Again today in the north. So we'll see if, because they said they want to, obviously they want to really kind of get into the ground offensive and possibly hit everything in front of them to clear the area of the border.
I just can't imagine why they're doing this. It's so horrible. I want to end in a few minutes because it's 1:30 in the morning and you should really go to sleep,
Yeah, go try to sleep, hopefully. Usually our round here starts after 2, and that's why I'm a bit worried that if I go to sleep it would be like just for half an hour, but we'll see how it goes.
What's going on?
That was something big.
It was something big?
Yeah, some airstrike. I mean, I'm telling you, every few minutes there's something. If I don't hear it here, it happens somewhere else. It's really no exaggeration. Every few minutes, non-stop since yesterday. So what I hear is really a tiny bit of what's happening. It's nothing. No, but it's not too close, so you can go ahead. Sorry.
Well, then we see the footage of it later, and to imagine that that's happening anyway. But Israel, I don't think has what just happened.
Nothing, just the loud F-16. No, but it's fine. Sorry.
No, don't be sorry. I can't hear it, so I'm glad to know what's going on over there.
Why not?
Yeah, but I do hope that you can manage to get some sleep. This is obviously going on for a long time, and everybody's just exhausted. So thank you for taking time to talk to me in the middle of the night.
Sure. Thank you, Nora.
We'll talk again soon. Stay well.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.